You're listening to a special presentation from Night of the Living podcast, Zoned Out, the Twilight Zone, revisited with Freddy and Joe. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning, Freddy. How are you?
I'm good. Or I could say good night. These episodes release at 10:30 in the evening. So good evening as you drift off to sleep.
Blah.
If you're in the Eastern time zone.
Yeah, I always want to do like a catchy little I don't know what this would be, 60s tune or something. Freddy and Joe, Joe and Freddy, Freddy and Joe. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da.
Oh my God. I thought about that a few times, throwing together a real classic 1960s style theme song. But I always think instrumental, like Bewitched or I Dream of Jeannie.
Oh man, those were classic. Da 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 da
Yes.
da ba da da da.
So good. So good.
Now I feel old that I remember that.
We're talking about The Chaser today from originally aired May 13th, Friday the 13th, 1960. This is the third of 9 episodes directed by Douglas Hayes. We already talked about And When the Sky Was Opened, Elegy. Coming up, we'll have The After Hours, Nervous Man in a $4 Room, The Howling Man, which is one of my favorites of the whole series.
Oh, I love.
Yeah, Eye of the Beholder, which is considered a classic, essential. Dust, and The Invaders, which I also consider an essential episode. I really love that one.
Yes, my mom's favorite.
Oh, yeah, so good. It's such a great twist. You can hear more about Douglas Hayes in our And When the Sky Was Opened podcast. So if you want to know more about him, check it out. This is the only episode based on a short story by British poet and novelist John Collier. He's best known for writing short stories for The New Yorker, mostly in the 30s all the way up into the 50s. But he also he contributed to the screenplay for one of my favorite movies, The African Queen, and a lot of others. And The African Queen dialogue is out of this world, some of the best ever. He won an International Fantasy Award and an Edgar Award for Best Short Story in 1952 for Fancies and Goodnights, which now I think you can get as a 2-volume collection of his entire works. Because I'm not sure when it says Best Short Story, they don't say which story from the collection won. So I don't know. It could have been this one. All of his short stories, like I said, are available in that 2-volume collection. He died of a stroke on April 6, 1980. Near the end of his life, he wrote, "I sometimes marvel that a third-rate writer like me has been able to palm himself off as a second-rate writer." And I love that. That's like an early, he's addressing kind of like imposter syndrome way before people were talking about that shit.
Yeah, I love that.
And it's charming. So Serling, he's usually credited for the screenplay adaptations, but this week, Robert Presnell Jr. turned the story into the screenplay. But this is the only time the guy would ever work for the Twilight Zone. It's kind of weird. I don't know if maybe Rod Serling got sick. Who knows? So this is the only episode in season 1 not written by either Rod Serling, Charles Beaumont, or Richard Matheson.
Interesting.
Yeah, the episode features the usual stock music, but there's also the theme from The Fever, the one with the slot machine. They reused the theme from that for part of it.
I feel like, was that maybe the part where he's walking into the doctor's office? Because I feel like has like a jazzy, like a dunk, 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 like a little jazzy.
It could have been that or one of the nightclub scenes. I'm not sure. I didn't clock it during the episode. You know what I mean? I just caught this in trivia.
Gotcha.
But I was listening for it too, but I couldn't remember exactly which one it was. So you have a cast of 9, including Serling, and you're looking at characters here. Professor A. Demon.
Damon.
Yeah,
Which, if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss, and it's like, oh, yeah, there's your whole twist right there. All right.
It's so funny. It's just on the door. They never really say it either. Do they?
Yeah.
I don't.
Nope. They never say it out loud. They only show it that one time. I went back and watched it to see, and it's only on the door. It's not. It doesn't show you the card. Sometimes they do a close up, pause, but it's only on the door as he goes in.
So this actor, John McIntyre, he, if he was familiar to you, most likely you're thinking of the sheriff from Psycho, and that's the character who they go to the sister and her lover go to the sheriff's house at night in Psycho, and he's the one that tells them that Norma Bates is dead, and the whole yeah, he has that one of the maybe the best moment in the movie Psycho. I think it gives me chills, but that's this actor John McIntyre, Sheriff Al Chambers. He was also in Turner and Hooch, which if you're Gen X, you probably remember.
Tom Hanks and a dog.
Yep, big slobbery dog. He was a voice in The Rescuers, which is the Disney movie that supposedly has like the window with the naked person in it in the animation, right? You ever see that?
Oh yeah. There's always that and like the thing in the Lion King and the Little Mermaid. There's all these little subtle things that people rave about.
I don't know if it was really there or not. If that's an urban legend, it feels like an urban.
I feel
legend.
like somebody should look at that. If anybody has the curiosity, go ahead and look at it and then write us an email at what email address should they send it to?
Probably just crew@notlp.com. But
perfect.
The Rescuers is a Disney animated movie about, are they mice, I think, or something? But they
Yeah.
Yep. And there's a scene where they're flying past all these buildings, and in the window there's a live action nude woman in a window. And I've seen people, there's images of it, but I don't know if they're fake or not. If anybody
right.
It's probably on Google. I'm sure there's an answer to this. But he was also in The Asphalt Jungle. Again, I'm talking about John McIntyre. And appeared in a lot of Westerns and film noir. Our next character is Leela. This is the object of our main dude's affections and obsessions. First of two appearances by Patricia Barry. She's going to come back in season 4's I Dream of Jeannie. And in the 1983 movie segment, It's a Good Life, she was the mom. And that's the one with the kid who has the power over the family. She was the mom in that. Her career took off when she won a Rita Hayworth lookalike contest. So then Warner Brothers noticed her because she won this contest and gave her a contract for movies. How about that?
Wow.
That goes to show they're like, well, people like Rita Hayworth movies. She graduated from Davenport High School in Davenport, Iowa. She loved going to class reunions like after she was a star and everything. And she always had an entourage with her. And people would kind of fawn over her because it's Davenport, Iowa.
Right. You're famous. Well, of course, they're not going to be that quite yokel.
In the 60s, it'd be super. That would be like a super cool thing to have somebody on a national television show that you knew.
Right.
And now everyone gets their 15 minutes, right? Roger Shackelforth. I'm sorry.
I was going to say one way or another.
Yeah, one way or another. Roger Shackelforth is George Grizzard. This is the first of two appearances from George. He's going to come back in season 4's In His Image. He's known for Flags of Our Fathers. So as an older actor, obviously, Bachelor Party with Tom Hanks again comes up, and a movie called Firepower. He also appeared on The Golden Girls, and you probably remember him from The Golden Girls if you were a fan, because he played Blanche's dead husband and his dead husband's twin brother. And I think the twin shows up first, and Jamie, and then George, the real dead husband, shows up later in the series, and he faked his death, I guess, if I remember right, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's George Grizzard.
He's got good face.
It's probably pronounced Grizzard.
Grizzard.
Wouldn't you think? Grizzard sounds kind of like gizzard.
It's like gizzard with a hazard at the end.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Pretty much. Then we have the character Homburg. This is the first of 4 appearances by J. Pat O'Malley. Now, this character is just the guy waiting to use the phone, who's real upset and paying people to get the next one in line. Need the next spot in line. He again, the reason I think he's worth mentioning, even though it's a small role, the dialogue is delivered like perfectly. Who this guy is. Yeah, in a very small amount of time. He's clearly got money. He's paying people to get ahead in line. Because when we get to as you synopsis, this is the opening sequence where you establish the obsession. And but this actor's so great. And like I said, he's going to come back in 3 other episodes. He's going to be back in The Fugitive, The Self-Improvement of Salvador Ross, and Mr. Garrett in the Graves. But he's primarily known as a Disney voice actor. He voiced characters in 101 Dalmatians, The Jungle Book, Alice in Wonderland. And my favorite is the Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Yeah, remember Mr. Toad had a horse named Cyril Proudbottom?
I don't.
Yeah. It's worth revisiting that. If it's two, it's the first story is The Wind in the Willows, and the second story is The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And it's it's that one with the Bing Crosby music. And
gotcha.
But he's the voice of the horses, and just awesome voice. He recorded over 400 songs in England, and he spent 4 years as a vocalist with Jack Hilton's orchestra before he moved here to the U.S.
Wow.
Yeah. He voiced several audio animatronics too at Pirates of the Caribbean. So if you've ridden the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland or Disney World, he was the original voice of the pirate dunking the magistrate in the well. And he was one of the prisoners coaxing the dog with the keys. The dog has the keys in its mouth, and they're in the cell.
Yeah.
He's like, woo, come here. He's one of those guys. And he was also an Alfred Hitchcock lookalike sometimes. And he did.
That's wild. Mm-hmm. It's something like this. You watch one show of one little clip, and you're like, oh, that guy seems to be a pretty good actor. And then you're like, oh, yeah, he's in a billion other things that I've seen tangentially. It's
no role too
wild.
small.
Yep.
Like that kind of.
I love that connection.
I just love those actors that do that. We have another one. This is the old woman who's also in that line. This is a first of 3 appearances from Marjorie Bennett. She's going to come back and kick the can, which is the really
classic.
Sweet episode. Yeah. And No Time Like the Past. But she's best known for Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. And she was the voice of Duchess, another Disney connection, 101 Dalmatians. She, let's see, I would say it says she started in American films in 1916. She was in Limelight, the Charlie Chaplin movie. She was his landlord in that. So she's got a deep run. Plays a lot of snooty socialites and housekeepers.
That's awesome. I love that one that goes as far back as like, yeah, she was in silent films.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow.
You want to go ahead and we'll jump into the synopsis? Yeah.
Sure. Let's do it.
Cool.
So we start out and there's a line of people waiting to make a phone call. So this really starts out with a technological relic, the phone booth. So for those who are not aware, and they're pretty much all gone. I mean, you might see one as like a prop in a place where they're going to show old stuff like that. But a phone booth is a thing that you used to, in order to make a phone call, because no one had cell phones, you had to find this booth, and it would be, I was about to compare it to being a mailbox, a postal mailbox, which was on every corner, but those are even mostly gone too. So I'm not even sure what to compare it to.
Amy was watching an old episode of the Drew Carey Show, and Oswald bought a payphone, and he was going to put it up in the bar they all hang out in and get rich, But that was like 1998 or something. So it was already kind of becoming, it was kind of a joke already.
Yeah.
A little bit.
That's wild.
It was right on the cusp
the 90s.
of it. Yeah, the end of it.
So the idea is you'd go in this little tiny box, and you could pay like a quarter, or sometimes it was a nickel or a dime or whatever, depending on when it was, and you could make a phone call. And you could also do things like make collect calls. So you could talk to the operator and say, I want the person who I call to pay for this. And then the person on the other end would talk to the operator first, and the operator would say, so-and-so is requesting to make a collect call. Will you accept the charges? And you'd say yes. And then,
and if it was mom and dad, they'd be like, this better be important. Collect calls are expensive.
Right.
I had to collect from a lot of payphones in my life as a kid, teenager. Yeah.
I have one story from when I was a kid. As a teenager, I'd flown out to California to meet my mom, and it was a weird red-eye flight. So I flew out there, and I landed in somewhere in like Northern California. It was like 1:30 a.m. and I get there, and this is before 9/11 and all that. So like the airport's empty. There's nobody. There's almost no one there. It's like the cleaning crew, and that's about it. And there's nobody there to meet me, because normally somebody would meet you at the gate, and I was like, what's going on? So I had to figure out how to make a collect call, because I'd never done that before. Turns out my mom was there to was going to pick me up, thought it was the next day that she was supposed to pick me up. And
Uh,
so she had to drive like 2 hours to get to the airport to pick me up to go.
oh
Anyway,
Lord.
it was a good rite of passage to figure out.
I,
Anyway,
I feel like that's why
wow.
collect calls exist, is for teenagers.
Yes,
But then it
exactly.
becomes for every other person can't keep their shit together. Then it
Yeah,
became that. Like I had a friend who would always call me collect,
yeah, yeah.
and you're like, oh God, they just don't
You're
carry
like,
money, or they don't have money, and they're
yeah.
wandering around.
So it costs 20 times as much for you to do the collect call. Anyway, um, and everything with phones used to be more expensive, and it was long distance. And anyway, that's a deep digression. All right, rolling back. Phone booth. So this guy is at the front of the line. His name is Roger. He's making phone calls, and he keeps getting a busy signal. And there's a line of people behind him. And they introduce him as, with the intro voiceover, Mr. Roger Sackleforth, age youthful 20s, occupation being in love. Not just in love, but madly, passionately, illogically, miserably, all consumingly in love with a young woman named Leela, who has a vague recollection of his face and even less than a passing interest. In a moment, you'll see a switch because Mr. Roger Shackelforth, the young gentleman so much in love, will take a short but very meaningful journey into the Twilight Zone.
Leela, you got me on my knees.
Exactly, exactly. So we're seeing this phone call, and this our Mr. What was his Almberg,
Yep.
which we don't get his name or anything, but he's at the back of this line of like 3 people. And he's like, I have to make an urgent call, and they're like, yeah, he's making another call. So he's getting upset because the person in the booth is making a second call, and you could see that happening. And they're upset, and they said, one of the other people in line says, well, it's okay. It's only his fifth, out of sarcasm. And so the common etiquette at the time was you'd make one call, and if you need to make another call, you have to get back in line to make another call. Anyway, he's really eager to make his call, and so he starts paying people in the line to take their spot. So he's buying their spot in line, which is, I guess something you could certainly do. And he offers each person $1. So he goes, $1 for your place in line, which would be like $10 today. I did a little conversion. And till he gets to the lead woman, who was that Marjorie Bennett you talked about. And she's like, why should the first place in line be the same as the third? $2.
Savvy.
Yeah, right? She nailed it. And he's like, yep, all right, $2. Gives it to her, and then we jump back to Roger, who's talking with Leela. She's actually he got a busy signal several times, and she has finally picked up. And he's like, "Hi, I'm desperately in love with you. I need to see you. Desperately need to see you." It's like, whoa, dude, calm yourself. But yeah, it's he's pretty intensely seeking her favor, and she's like, "Why don't you, why don't you leave me alone? And I don't want to talk to you." And he's won't take no for an answer, which this whole episode gets very, very cringy very fast.
Yeah,
In the modern lingo.
definitely like the yeah, it's very much
Yeah.
of its time. Not even for its time, even regressive. And I love that she's kind of like lazily eating like the box of chocolates that they never say
Yes.
he sent them, but he sent them, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So she's got all this stuff, kind of in the scene around her that, you can tell he's been sending her gifts.
And she's like she's like laying on her bed, and her arm is like draped down off of the bed, picks up the top of like a princess phone and is like, hello, So I love that Wikipedia described her as aloof, and I was like, it's probably the best word for it. Yeah. So anyway, she kind of says, he's like, I just need to hear your voice. Just say something. And she goes, well, why don't you take a flying leap at the moon? Which
Oh,
was a cast off, kind of an insult at the time. And she hangs up on him, and he's about to call back. And the guy who's bought the places in line is like, no, I have an urgent call to make. You need to get out of here. And he's like cramming into the booth with Roger. And he's like, I understand your problem though. And he, like you said, his delivery of the lines is just perfect because he communicates everything very clearly, but you can tell it's very harried and very kind of jumbled up in there. And he basically says to Roger, hey, you're desperately in love. I get it. I understand what's happening. Here's a card for a guy. He's going to take care of everything. You need to call him, but or go see him or whatever he says. And but I need to make this call right now. So he's like kind of boots him out of the line.
You were talking about him pushing in there with him. That was you just triggered another memory about phone booths. When the game you would play with, you see how many of your friends could fit in one.
So that was a thing. Like, yeah, back in this time too, they used to do that for college stuff. They would like see how many frat kids they could cram into a phone booth.
We'd start panicking because there's a certain point where the way the doors accordion open, if you get too many people in there, it's a real challenge to get it where it'll accordion open again. You can't get out. And so
and that creeps. I'm getting the shivers just you talking about it. Like, getting stuck in there.
I got stuck in there for a while. We were all like crammed in there trying to get out. Me and my stupid friends. We got out okay.
Okay, good. No, I'm still in the box.
I'm here.
Yeah. People can't see there's a big metal glass box surrounding Freddy.
So sorry to interrupt, but Omberg had pushed his way in and given Shackled whatever his business card for someone to help him out with his lovelorn problem.
Yes. Shackleford, he's got him at this card, and so he kind of stumbles out. Shackleford, Roger does. Shackleford, and looks at this card, and the next scene we see is we see a title on a door that just says, I think it's Professor A. Damon, which is like Damon, another word for demon, Damon. Yeah. And I think he goes to knock on the door or something, and the door just opens. He doesn't even like knock on it, which is pretty awesome. And he walks in, and it's just a library. Like, he walks straight into this room that is just a giant library, and this guy's sitting on a ladder and reading a book, and they start having a conversation.
There are folios in the floor that are like 48 inches across. These huge books.
Giant books. Yeah.
I love that. I thought it was a great touch. And the height of the bookshelves was a really good touch too. They felt impossibly high.
Yeah. Like, it looks like the whole space is just all books, and that's all it is. And let's call him a doctor. The doctor's like, professor. It is professor. So he says, are you here for the glove cleaner? And he's like, glove cleaner? No, I don't think I need a glove cleaner. And he's like, and it's just kind of confused. So they're kind of doing this weird dance of introduction. And Roger's like, I don't even really know why I'm here. I was just told by somebody that you're the person I should come see. And he's, another satisfied customer. And his voice is great. It's just fantastic. And this is the John McIntyre.
Yeah, John McIntyre. Yep.
Yeah,
the sheriff from Psycho.
I always want to pronounce MC as Mick, like shorten it instead of Mac, but it is.
It is anyway. Weird that it is, because it is just MC, but it's not McIntyre.
Yeah,
you'd think it would
sound weird.
Yeah.
So through their discussion, the professor's trying to convince him, you sure you don't want the glove cleaner? It's fantastic. It's also called the Eradicator. And it was funny. He makes it pretty clear. It's for killing people.
Yeah.
But it leaves no trace. It's the best, for its purpose.
He uses the term glove cleaner.
Yes. Because
it's
the glove cleaner, as I call it.
Yeah, the idea of you put gloves on when you're about to commit a crime, like
right,
and it cleans away the crime.
You wash your hands of it. Yeah. There's all kinds of great references connected to this. And at first Roger doesn't get it. He's like, well, glove? I'm my glove. He looks at his hands and he's like, I don't think I need a glove cleaner, And so they're talking through it, and he's like, what is, I think he says, it's a deal. It's only $1,000. And Roger's like, does everything you have cost that much? And he goes, no, some are more, some are less. And he's like, well, I don't need that. He said, I just need Leela's love. He's like, Leela? And he's like, oh, the professor's so like put upon, like, oh, of course it's Leela's love. It's Ria's love. It's Dorothy's love. It's all that. He's like, I can get you that. I've got a love potion, but it's $1 and it's overpriced at that. And he's like, oh, really? I don't believe it. He's like, well, no one does. But it always happens the same way. And it's funny because as he said the glove cleaner, something sparked in my brain about when I used to back in like the early 2000s. There was a show, and it's still on, I think, called Forensic Files
Oh
on Court
yeah,
TV.
they brought it back. Yeah.
Okay, so it was on, and it's a true crime show about true crime. And the funniest part was almost every episode that was on, it was from the same general era of like the 80s, the 90s, or maybe it's the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And almost every episode, it was like a husband and wife, and the thing that was used by one spouse to kill the other was something called succinylcholine.
Oh yeah.
And so because at the time there was no way to detect it, and it was like a muscle relaxant that would basically cause all your muscles to relax to the point where you just die.
The
And it was
Zodiac, not the Zodiac, but the Gemini killer used it in Exorcist 3.
oh yeah, that's right. And so the the joke with my spouse at the time was, we get like halfway through the episode and we're like, and then they discovered something. It's like succinylcholine. Did they discover succinylcholine? Yes. Okay.
They
And
never
it's always
discovered
like,
divorce.
right. Exactly. Right. You couldn't discover like a mutual parting of the ways. No, it's
Call
it's
me
succinylcholine.
old fashioned. I think you need to murder your spouse.
Oh God. So long story short, I'm reminded of succinylcholine from Forensic Files, which is $1,000. So Roger takes the love potion, and he's like, why? If this works, this is a great shot with the professor in the foreground and him in the background. He goes, if this works, and then they both say, I'll be the happiest man in the world. And then Roger looks at the professor like, well, how did you know I was going to say that?
You know what's interesting is Love Potion
Yeah.
number 9, the song, came
Yeah.
out just a year before this episode.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder if that like inspired the writing of it.
Yeah, because I'm
kinda
not sure
knocked that out.
I don't know what the copyright on the original story is. Could be the other way
True.
around. Could it be that
There you go.
the songwriter may have read the story?
Yeah. I wonder if it was like in the zeitgeist. Maybe it was a clip of it was published in a magazine or something. So we clip to this is the moment where they always do the interstitial, the Twilight Zone, and it's like commercial. And they come back, and Roger is reading a book, and as he lowers the book, oh no, sorry, I skipped a bunch of stuff. Roger gets his shampoo. Sorry, so no commercial. Rewind. Roger visits Leela, and he's like, and knocks on the door, and she's like, "Oh, Roger, I told you I didn't want to see you." And he's like, "Look, I just want to see just for a moment." And he's still fawning and falling all over himself, and he's like begging her through a crack in the door of like, "Please, I've brought champagne. We could just have just one drink, just one drink, and then I'll leave, And she's like, "But blah, blah." She doesn't want to see him, and this is where that weird, grossness of like all the pressure of continuing to pressure her to see him. Anyway, she finally relents, and he comes in and roofies her drink, which is just creepy, and gives her the drink, and she takes it, and at first, like, she's just kind of like, okay, I drank your drink, now you go, So he's like stalling for time, a little bit more, and at some point, as she's pushing him out the door, she's like, "Oh, here, I'll just give you one kiss," and then she's like, what's happening? And she can feel something happening. This is the part that creeped me out. Again, it's like that kind of like the stuff that you look at now and you're like, oh, that's gross.
Yeah, it's her brain's being affected. Yeah,
she can feel herself, her will being kind of overruled. She's like, what's happening? What's happening? And she feels something happening in her. And then he's like, what does it matter? Just go with it, and she suddenly head over heels in love with him. Gross.
Have you ever seen the,
So-
well, no, I'm sorry. I'll save this for the end
No,
of the
no.
synopsis.
Okay. So she's head over heels, and then we go to commercial, and then come back, and he's reading a book, and he lowers the book, and she's like gazing lovingly up at him. And there's some great lines in here that show kind of the level of bonkers that she's falling over with him. And there's one point where he talks about how she keeps wanting to do things for him. And she's like, do you want your slippers? And he's like, no, they make my feet hot. And she's like, well, I could soak my hands in ice water and caress your feet to cool them off. And he's like, no, that's fine. And then she's like, do you want your pipe? And he's like, no, it's not broken in very well. It's
Bites his lip.
it's bites my tongue. Yeah. Which I think is just like, I don't know. I've never smoked a pipe. So is it like, it's like a quick hit of something when you
I'm not
suck on
sure
it or
what he was
something?
complaining about, because the end of those tobacco pipes, they just have like a little lip at the end that you can park your teeth on.
Okay.
I
I
don't
wonder
know.
if maybe he like it was poorly made or something.
Maybe
and
the bite was
scratched his
too
tongue.
large. He had to chew it down.
Yeah. And so she's like, I could smoke it all day and have it
Yeah.
ready for you when you get home from work. And he's like, no, that's cool. Oh, I forgot. There's one last thing. When he was getting ready to give her the champagne before all that happened, he used this phrase called, it's like millennium. And I was like, what on earth is that? I couldn't find anything like definitive that said what that phrase meant. But the way I saw it was some people thought of like millennium. A lot of people associate it with like of course 1,000 years, which is what it is. But like 1,000 years of happiness. Like there was like some like he's happy for the next 1,000 years because of the moment he's in. So I don't know. That just stood out to me as I wanted to mention.
He's a big Will in him fan.
Yeah, right. This is the millennium.
In
Oh.
Benito Amiami.
Was that the quote from the song?
Yeah, wasn't it? Welcome to Miami.
Welcome to Miami. That's right. Oh, it's
The
was that
Willennium.
90s or 2000?
I think that was early 2000s.
Of course, the beginning of the millennium.
Yeah, I think that was the beginning of the millennium.
Oh man. If you don't know what we're talking about, just look up millennium and Will Smith and it won't make any sense, but it will make more sense.
It's some shit that seemed cool at the time and is super corny in hindsight.
Yes. So corny. Okay. So, and then one point where she's fawning over him and she says, or he moves to another chair away from her and he's still trying to read. And she goes, am I disturbing your reading? And he's like, no. And she goes, did I disturb you by asking if I was disturbing you?
Oh,
Which is just
boy.
like, oh, that's awesome. That's just like layering that on. And it's funny because there's a couple of moments in there where as he's doing that, he's clearly not being honest with her because it annoys the hell out of him. But to me, it was this moment of like, that's where you could use some couples counseling where you could just be like, I need a little space. And if he'd
Yeah.
said that, she might have been like, cool, I'll give you a little space. Anyway.
Yeah, because she's clearly suggestible to every possible whim he could have.
Right.
But also, I think her character has developed a sort of mania about constantly checking in, and it wouldn't work anyway.
Right.
She wouldn't.
So
I don't think she'd be capable of leaving him alone.
it wouldn't advance the plot anyway.
And
right?
that too, yeah. Because we got to get to back to that glove cleaner somehow.
Right. Exactly. So they're talking, and at one point he just says, I gotta go out. I gotta get out. I gotta go out. And then she's like, okay, I'll be here when you get back. So he leaves, shows up at Professor A. Damon's house again. And Professor's like, oh, you're back. So you'll be wanting that glove cleaner then, huh? And he's like, oh, no, I'm fine. Everything's great. And he's trying to like play it off as he's not even interested, but the professor knows. And he's like, continues to do that. And he's like, "Hey, is there anything that we could just like, make her a little less lovey and maybe love somebody else too a little bit?" And he's like, "Nope, just the glove cleaner. That's the only option."
Yeah.
And
Succinylcholine.
yeah, so he's like, "Okay, you're sure it won't hurt her?" And he's like, "Yep, tasteless, odorless, untraceable, won't hurt her at all." And so he buys it, and here he pulls out a check, which was already pre-made out. So clearly he's there just to get that from the professor. Professor says, "Hey, here's the deal. When you use this, use it right away." He's like, "Why? Does it expire?" And he's like, No. Your will, though. You will not have the courage to do it if you delay too long." And so Roger's like, "Okay, I'll go do it." And as he goes to leave, the professor watches him go and then says, "Always the same. First the stimulant, then the chaser."
The Chaser. I wonder if
The title of the episode.
I wonder if it was ever titled Glove Cleaner at any point.
Ooh,
or
I
something
wonder
like that.
if that would be too much.
It's such a good episode, but it's also a silly episode. So it's not like, for me, it doesn't hold with the best of the best, but it is so good. It's structured kind of like a joke.
Yeah. It's a little monkey's paw,
Yeah.
right?
So, yeah, I'm sorry. You still have a little bit to go here, don't you?
Oh, yeah. So
get us back.
last little bit. Yes. This is the final twist. He gets back home. He makes a new glass of champagne. Leela is reminded of the first time he brought champagne before they got married 6 months ago. And they've only been married 6 months. I love that. And he's pours the poison in her drink, and they're falling over the couch and kind of getting back, and he's about to give it to her, and she says something about I've got something to share with you, love bunny. And as she says love bunny, she shows him a pair of booties, which in this era was the like normal symbol for we're gonna have a baby. And he drops the glasses, and the glass shatters, and he's like, "I could have never done it. I could have never done it anyway." And she starts talking about how, and now we get to be together forever and ever and ever. And he's like, "I could have never done it anyway." And then passes out, and we go out to Roger and Leela's terrace outside there, and there's Professor Damon smoking a cigar and puffing a smoke ring that turns into a heart and fades in the sky as the outro plays. Mr. Roger Shackelforth, who has discovered at this late date that love can be as sticky as a vat of molasses, as unpalatable as a hunk of spoiled yeast, and as all-consuming as a 6-alarm fire in a bamboo and canvas tent. Case history of a lover boy who should never have entered the Twilight Zone.
Good times. Great country.
Good times.
Yeah. I was going to mention earlier, I didn't want to derail the synopsis, but have you ever seen in the Tales from the Crypt HBO series, they kind of remade this episode and they called it Love to Death. And it had, it was Andrew McCarthy and Mariel Hemingway.
I don't remember that one.
And it's really a fun, now it's hard. People really, you look to find Tales from the Crypt streaming, you're going to probably have difficulty, but it is on YouTube, like every episode.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it's fun.
Nice. I love it. This is one of those themes of be careful what you wish for and all that sort of stuff, which has been done a few times, but this is just so, like you said, so classic. And again, of its time. So every time I kept seeing him pour something into her drink, I was like, "Oh, that's creepy." Oh, but
the Tales from the Crypt one has a very different ending. But otherwise, it's essentially the same story, but it has a different twist.
Gotcha. Very nice. And yeah, that's the end of it. So they're just together forever, which I don't know, you make it work.
I mean,
I think some people,
as bad as it is that he slipped her this love potion.
Yeah.
At least he didn't murder.
Yeah.
It's not much to say for a guy, but
wasn't actual succinylcholine. Yeah.
They kind of made it almost sweet with the heart smoke ring and everything, but you got to look at what it's built on to begin with, and it's never good. But you're also kind of like, oh, maybe I'd love to check back in with them in their 60s.
Yeah. Or in what's their kid like?
Right.
You know, how's that going?
Be funny if the kid was the same exact way.
Next week is A Passage for Trumpet with George Klugman, right?
Jack Klugman.
Jack George. I freaking love this episode.
Me too.
Is fantastic. So good.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you then.
Thanks, everybody.